Martin Brossman, and he has a great book, and it's funny because he brought me one that was autographed today, and I'm like, I already own it, I paid for this. Well, come on up, Martin, and tell us what you know.
What I want to talk about today is social media, which I backed into also, like was mentioned earlier, where, okay, people are talking online, it's just chat rooms, and I started to notice, wait a second, with this thing called blogging and RSS feed, now we all have the power to create news. And then YouTube shows up. And then, of course, Google buys it, so, now we're paying attention to it more. And then I realized we all now have the power as small businesses to build news, but we also have the power to generate noise. Lots of noise to be ignored. And I started to realize what's happening in our culture is that each one of us are developing our own personal information feed. We are deleting marketing and advertising at a higher rate than we ever have in history. So what are we letting in? We're overwhelmed with this stimulation. We're letting in what's relevant to us, what's important to us. And it might be the broadcast news station, but it also might be your blog, or how Dennis can help me with my pet. We're letting that data in, and we're deleting more than ever. So in some ways, one of the competitors for news is us. In some ways, one of the competitors is us is news. Well, to me, what new media will be is the collaboration of both of us providing quality information and earning the right, like the news has over time, to be an authority of quality information. But that's possible by all of us now. That wasn't possible before. I like the story where you go and the printer says, I'll help you market so you look bigger than you are. Okay, I lied to them up front, now they should trust me later. I'm it. That's the product. I want to be accountable for my actions. I want to earn the trust of you to be in your information feed, just like the news has had to do for years. But the possibility exists now that didn't before. What new media to me is this integration of these two things. What's exciting, though, is as small business owners, which I and Pat personally believe are the backbone of America, small business owners now have tools to build trust and interface with the media where we can go out ourselves and be our own media source. That doesn't exclude the media, that partnerships with. But we also have a responsibility of creating relevant information that's authentic and allows a certain level of transparency. Let's be powerful in the size we are instead of trying to be something we aren't. And own it. And that's where the power is. If you listen to the news, that's what they want. They don't want you to look like you have 12 employees when you don't. What they want is some great story about your speaking or coaching program. And another thing is quality news. We all can broadcast news, right? Anyone text in this room today or tweeted or anything? Oh, come on, admit it. There we go, that's better, right? And wasn't it requested of us? We're all sources of news, but we have a personal responsibility with this. Are we going to have something of integrity and quality or not? And that's a wonderful, what if we're all doing that? What if the news continues their commitment to quality information that's relevant, and then we continue developing as individual businesses and contacts quality information that's relevant, and then we find new ways in technology to interface it. One of the stories that I want to mention is I go up to DC, I have an office there and take care of my parents, and it snowed here, and I wanted to know what's going on in my neighborhood. So I went to the media, and they had great stuff, what it is, the pattern, the radar. They provided the analysis that individuals couldn't provide. And then I went on Twitter and looked up local data. And my neighbor posted a picture in the neighborhood. So the combination of that gave me the information I needed. Well, this is exciting. So you want to think about not just building a relationship with the media, but the integrity of the information you're providing. This reminds me of a little piece related to the weather, and I'm also a ham radio operator. Anyone know that? No? Okay. You know, my wife says, I always wanted to be a ham non-licensed. But they've been doing something with the weather for years called Skywarn. And what happens with Skywarn is the radar traditionally had an angle so there were pieces of the weather you couldn't see. So they had real people all over the community who learned a little bit of information about appropriate data and became registered, and they were Skywarn spotters. And they fill in the blanks. So if you actually ever hear the weather and you turn on the ham radio frequency and listen, you'll hear stuff that complements and fills in the news, and then it provided the news. The news provides the background analysis, extremely important. Something I can't do, and seeing patterns and so forth. The research you talked about. And then these people provide that. Well, what we might see in the future is more things like news spotters. You know, where we work with the media and they go, we're going to teach you a little bit about accurate data reporting. Not just promoting that, and then providing those together. So that's, to me, what the new media is, and the social media related to the news is not only do we have the power of building relationships with the news, but also creating it ourselves, and we have a responsibility that goes with that as well. Thank you very much.
He doesn't have any energy, does he?